Alright, it is time for another 5-year Lifelands run, and apparently me to connect to Steam servers. So, this time we are playing Zero, which in this mod is a little speedy, squishy boy, which is pretty accurate to what he normally is. But that also means that we're gonna be in some soup quite often, probably. So, as Zero, we have faster weapon swap speed and reload speed while we're invisible. We have full immunity to dot damage while we're invisible. We have a 10% faster weapon swap speed. We have increased zoom speed. We are able to change our movement direction mid-air, so we have more air control. And we can climb stairs faster. So we'll have to see what that's about. But right here, as you can see, our air control is really, really strong. So we are supposed to be the fast-moving, just don't die character. That's the basic idea here. Now, as for our skill trees, we can start with the action skill here. Pressing left bumper turns us invisible for a few seconds, so basically like normal invis. The longer we are invisible, the more damage our next attack will deal, with melee going up to 650%, gun going up 200%, and critical hit damage up to 250% as well. So that is super nice. Also, if we end our invis early, we get more cooldown back, and then killing an enemy with a melee while in stealth mode will restore some of the duration. So that sounds like Mini Must Fall is just built in to the skill naturally, which sounds super cool. We are going to run on Nightmare this time, so we might be able to get away with some melee. And if Mini Must Fall is just built into the skill, then I'm totally down with that. Now, for our left tree, it is still a sniper tree. Our first skill increases Jacob's damage, sniper damage, and aim steadiness. Our second skill is accuracy. We have velocity here. Headshot also buffs Jacob crits more specifically on top of the normal crit. We have piercing shot, which is like Boar, kind of. Upon entering stealth, you'll restore amp shields. You are able to penetrate enemies. Transforms amp damage into gun damage. Increases your sniper rifle damage and damage from amp shields while in stealth mode. So it's Boar, but it doesn't increase the damage per enemy it pierces. But it also buffs other stats, which is something. We have our at one with the gun, which buffs normal sniper stuff. We have one shot, one kill, which is reduced for shotguns, specifically is weird, okay. We have kill confirmed, which while we are ADSing, we get more crit damage and movement speed. We have killer, which increases our reload speed and critical hit damage a lot, which is pretty normal. And then we have critical ascension. So critical ascension, scoring a critical hit with a sniper rifle increases your stealth mode cooldown rate, gun damage, and critical hit damage with sniper rifles for each stack of critical ascension. Stacks only last for 12 seconds. Each second critical hit will restore 1.5 sniper ammo back into your backpack. You also restore shields and health for each crit. So sniper rifle damage and crit damage per stack is 10%. If a sniper rifle is Jacob's, then those bonuses are 150% stronger. That's kind of interesting. Health and shield restored per stack is 5% of max value. So if we use a high fire rate gun, we could just constantly tick our health bar back up and kind of just try not to die. We don't have health gate, but that's still pretty cool. And then it provides 2.5% stealth mode cooldown rate per stack. This sounds sick. This sounds like we will be the nastiest sniper character who's just constantly living and can just invis at all times. If it doesn't work like this, I'll be a little bit sad, but that's so cool. So I really do like this tree. We have fast hands, which seems to do fast hand stuff. We have grim, which seems to do grim stuff. Maybe the cooldown is better. I think it's probably vanilla though. We have ambush, which does ambush. We have hardened suit. Your suit now makes you tougher and suppresses portions of damage that you receive. Stealth mode cooldown rate is passively increased. So we get some DR, increased max health and shield. We get increased cooldown rate passively, and damage reduction is doubled while we're invisible. Okay, interesting. We have Deathmark, melee, or ranged crits apply it now. And beyond that, it seems to be normal Deathmark pretty much. The ranged cooldown, like if we get a ranged crit, it does have a cooldown of 25 seconds, so that's rough, but that is still pretty cool. Probably helps avoid lag or something. We have Rising Shot, which buffs gun damage and amp damage per stack, up to 5 stacks. Okay, interesting. Counter-Strike is Counter-Strike, but it does a little more damage. Innervate, while Invis gives gun damage, amp damage, regens our max health, and gives us movement speed. So kind of just the amp damage is new there. We've got Two Fang. Every time you fire a gun, you have a chance to fire twice, and your bullets have a chance to ignore enemy shields. So that could be sick for Pete, for example. In addition, makes Be Like Water and Counter-Strike stronger. So on level 1, 10% double shot chance to ignore shields 10%, Be Like Water damage is buffed by 28%, and Counter-Strike's damage by 12%, so that's kind of cool. We have Death Blossom. Press F while stealth mode is active to throw a handful of kunai. Throwing kunai does not end stealth mode and can apply Death Mark, while in Deception increases your weapon swap and reload speed, Counter-Strike activation chance. There's not an and there, so that messed me up. So you can throw up to 5 kunai, probably 6 like vanilla if you press it fast enough. You have the Counter-Strike activation chance, weapon swap speed and reload speed buffed by a ton there as well. And then Weapon Mastery is a kill skill, and on kill you get increased Rising Shot bonuses, amp damage, reload speed, critical hit damage, and movement speed. So these are a lot. There is a lot happening here. And then for our melee tree, we have Iron Hand, which increases our melee damage alongside action skill cooldown rate. We have Resurgence, where killing an enemy with a melee restores health. The lower your health, the more health you receive. And if you kill someone with a melee attack, you receive massive DR for 3 seconds. At level 1, you take 1.9 times less damage, so that's pretty cool. Also restores 9% of max health on level 1, so that's also pretty strong. We have Fearless, which is Fearless but for melee and roid instead, so that's cool. We have Killing Blow, increases your health limit based on your roid damage bonus. You deal massively increased melee damage against enemies at low health. Low health begins when enemy has 25% health, and so it provides extra damage basically like it normally does. I'm not sure what the roid damage into health is, we might have to check that out. We have Execute, which applies its normal dash, and it also can apply Be Like Water's debuff, which we haven't gotten to yet. And in this mod, you don't have to have a targeted enemy to actually be able to execute, so you can basically just fly as Zero temporarily, which is pretty cool. And it provides an AoE melee wherever you do trigger it, so that is also cool too. We have Backstab, which increases shield recharge delay, and your melee attacks deal more damage, so that's pretty cool. We have Be Like Water, where from now on, manually reloading a gun will deplete our roid shield and will increase our melee damage, so we have a way to strip our shield without having to damage ourselves with a Tesla or something like that. Damaging an enemy with a melee attack will reduce their current health by 10%, and it's on a cooldown of 17.5 seconds. So this means that if we hit a raid boss, it will chunk 10% of that boss's remaining health. Kind of like a static effect from like Diablo, if you've ever played that, or like Crushing Blow basically, but it can only trigger once every 17.5 seconds, so that's kind of still pretty cool. That's a good opener skill. And then we have Follow Through here. It provides movement speed, chance to ignore bullets, weapon damage, and melee damage. We have Dodge, where when you are damaged, you will become immune to any damage and gain massively increased movement speed to avoid enemy attacks for 0.33 seconds. Your reload speed is also increased during your dodge. You passively gain more gun melee damage and receive passive health regen. The bonuses are further increased during dodge activation. And the cooldown on dodge is 5 seconds, so not too strong, but still kind of strong. And then we have Mini Must Fall as our capstone. From now on, stealth mode increases execute's range, melee damage, and resurgence's health restoration. That's a lot of extra damage and range and stuff, so that could also be cool. This is a lot of information. We are surely overloaded. I don't know, I kind of want to just go sniper because it looks cool, but the melee could also be pretty interesting. So probably sniper early since it'll be easier and safer to get running, and then melee as we find cool stuff. Or we could try running them both. I don't know. I don't think that'd be a good idea though. And from here, there is nothing to do but go ahead and just hold W for a while, try to get some XP, try to get some stuff going, just see what we can do. And I do want to go ahead and point out that while we are playing 5-year Lifelands, I will be keeping the controller display on down in the bottom right corner between the level bar and ammo bar, so that you guys can see any multi-shots that I do, any T or reload funkiness that I come up with, stuff like that basically. Just so that if people want to see how to do stuff, they can go ahead and slow down the video, or just go see one of the other multi-shot guides that I have, and just kind of understand what we're actually doing here. Alright, coming to DigiPeak for a little bit of free early XP. You do get a pretty decent little bit of XP in this mod from doing this, so it's kind of worth doing, at least for a couple levels. Level 7, we have a belt-fed skag here, so honestly I might just get level 8 off of the other ones and then go ahead and move on. Alright, there we go. Go ahead and get us out of here. Okay, so we're going to be a little bit over-leveled for the early portions of the game, so I am tempted to go ahead and try to do a little bit of melee. I know it's a bad idea, but I'm curious about it, so I'm going to bite. Alright, so turn invis. No decoy, so the enemies should just naturally de-aggro and just kind of go about their business for a little bit, which does make them a little easier to deal with, since, you know, they'll go idle and start to wander around instead of actively moving as if they're trying to fight. And the cooldown naturally is 25 seconds, which early game is going to feel really bad, but I know we have a lot of cooldown skills to look forward to, especially Critical Ascension. So we'll probably be okay. We'll definitely get our cooldown up pretty quick. Alright, so let's go ahead and test out our Mini Must Fall. Yes, we do just actually have Mini Must Fall. That is super cool. I guess that does kind of reward the player early, especially when their cooldown is super bad. Because you could just try to take that one invis through a bunch of areas really quick, just to try to keep that movement up, keep that damage up and stuff like that. And then if you fail, you get punished. So that kind of works. I did not get skyrockets while we were in DigiPeak, which would have been a really good idea. So this boss fight might actually just be a little bit rough. We'll have to see. Yeah, we need to be a little bit careful here. That skyrocket would have been a really good decision. Okay, yeah, lots of movement, nice air control. Feels really, really good for this fight. I think I'm gonna like this character. This feels really nice. God, something about the air control while also trying to hit multi-shots that felt good. It's kind of interesting because now my ceiling is increased for what I can get away with. because I do have that air control. So I could theoretically try to be moving really well in the air while also performing my multi-shots. So it is an extra layer of spice. Oh, this is nice. Yeah, that melee is really fun to tinker with. Which, like, I was not expecting that. Why am I being forced to look down? What is this? Why is it... What? Is the front of my gun too heavy? What's my character doing? Alright. This might be rough. Don't know yet. Never mind. Bonus package all the way. Oh my... that does way too much. That's incredible. That is a really strong grenade to have this early in the game. Okay. Sure. Honestly, we could probably move down middle tree and get ambush, and that would buff our grenade damage. And make this thing even more disgusting. Oh. Do the thing. It's not funny. It's kind of funny. Alright, I don't normally do side quests this early, but doing assassins and getting a couple of unique items actually sounds pretty interesting to me right now. So we will go ahead and do that. You dump so much ammo so fast with Vlad Off snipers in this mod. But that would also be really good for our healing, so I'm not going to complain about that. Alright, we've got our first unique weapon here, the Commerce. This thing's base damage is actually pretty low, but the shock dot it applies, it's kind of really nice. So yeah, it does perfectly fine in this mod. Alright, second unique item here, the Judge. This does that in this mod, and it has really high crit damage, so it is also super nice to add to our roster here. Alright. Oh, hold on. We've got Remington's Edge. This kind of just does okay damage in this mod. It's not, like, crazy or anything. It's just a little strong early, is all. Alright, and a dog. This thing is very chompy in this mod, so this thing will be fun to use too. Alright, and there we go. So I'm going to go ahead and call it for today. We've already talked about a lot, we've already looked at a lot of stuff. I'm really looking forward to this character. I think this should be a pretty, honestly, weirdly chill run. I am running on Nightmare instead of True Nightmare. We'll see if I don't increase the difficulty as we get into late game, where a lot of the legendaries and pearls are. But for right now, I'm pretty okay with being on Nightmare. The game is still plenty punishing. I just happen to have played it a few times, so I'm kind of familiar with a couple of the potential problems we could run into. And then I really want to do Sniper. I think Sniper is definitely going to be our actual good damage build. But the melee looks interesting. I don't know if it needs a buff, but I don't know if it's going to be as OP as just doing Sniper about everything, because that's honestly just really, really good in this mod. So we'll see and wait until we get good gear, see what we feel like. I might try to do melee versus dragons whenever we get there eventually, because that is my preferred method for fighting them. So we'll see if we can actually do that, see if that holds up, if that's like possible, and just see how things feel from there. But that'll do it for today. So day one.